Welcome to Words Unspoken, the Hills podcast.
We are two Southern sisters rewatching The Hills and chatting about it for your entertainment.
I am Susan. I'm a 30-something photographer.
I'm Jem. I'm 29 forever and I love sushi.
Today we will be discussing Season 2, Episode 5, One Big Interruption. So we start out at the Hillside Villas. It's the morning after the big Spidey breakup. Audrina comes over and starts chatting with Heidi and Lauren.
Audrina in the camo, no less.
Audrina is so beautiful.
All the time, no matter what, even in camo.
And so all of a sudden Heidi and Audrina are besties again, I guess?
Yeah, basically anybody who takes the time to sit and talk to Heidi about herself is best friends with Heidi.
That is so true. So Audrina reveals the big news that Spencer brought her flowers, and Heidi figures out it was the same day that she hooked up with Spencer, and she is just so livid. Audrina's like, he's a dirtbag, Heidi. And it's so funny how all of a sudden Heidi is like, oh, I'm so anti-Spencer. So
in front of the girls.
Exactly. Oh, exactly. So Heidi puts Spencer on speakerphone and she tells him she's so mad that he brought Audrina flowers. How dare he deceive her like this? She said, I am shaking. I'm so angry right now.
She kind of wasn't. I was watching. She really wasn't. She was dramatically gesturing, but there really wasn't a whole lot of shaking going on.
I noticed that too because they were kind of zoomed in near her face and her hands. I'm like, no, they're not really shaking, but okay. And then Spencer's like, I am done, and they hang up. It's so dramatic.
And then it's over, and they never spoke again.
Oh, if only, Jim, if only. LC says, don't get involved with someone who can manipulate you like that. And they're just comforting Heidi and giving her so much attention. And you can tell she secretly loves all the attention. I mean, who wouldn't? Let's be honest.
She's all about the recap. Like, you know, when Audrina first came in and she's like, this is what death looks like. This is my death face. And Audrina's like, you had such a bad night. And then that just makes Heidi's day. She's like, this is going to be all about me. We're going to commiserate on the couch, do some couch commiseration. Everything's going to be great because it's about me.
So then we head to Teen Vogue for one of our favorite little meetings in Lisa Love's office.
Susan, what is Lisa Love doing when the girls walk into the office?
Well, Jem, I know she's not on the phone because she never does that when the girls walk into the office.
She's not on a fake phone call again.
Jem, I don't know if I've mentioned this before. As you know, I read all of Lauren Conrad's books, and even though they're fiction, she used a lot of her real-life experiences in them. And her boss in one of the books has her makeup artist and lighting artist from this company who is filming the show come in 3 hours early to fix her makeup and do the lighting and get it perfect. And so every time I see a Lisa Love office shot, I always wonder if that was true, and that is what Lisa did.
Well, you know, it's funny that you say that because in this scene, if you go back and watch it again in your life, the phone in Lisa's office is like 3 feet behind her desk. It's like out by the window and she's sitting at her desk. So when she hangs up the phone, she has to spin all the way around, reach all the way over just to hang up her phone. And I'm like, a real person in real life at a real desk in a real office has their phone as close as possible. It just didn't look right to me.
I noticed that too, Jim. And you know what I thought when I saw that? I was like, I bet Lisa Love actually does not ever use the phone. She probably has an assistant who makes all her calls for her. And the only time she ever uses the phone is when Whitney and Lauren are in her office.
I would love to be a Lisa Love minion. I would do anything for you, Lisa Love.
So Lisa says that they're going to have this special private dinner for 20 young up-and-coming designers in LA. And intern Emily from the New York office is going to come and help out. And Lisa gushes about Emily.
Can you feel the chill in the air as Emily is praised to the heavens?
Lauren and Whitney stiffen a little and they're like, competition?
They look intimidated. They're like, it's going to be an East Coast versus West Coast battle.
Battle it out. And then Whitney says she's getting her wisdom teeth taken out so she won't be there. Have you noticed how many times Whitney has had to say, oh, I can't be there because of school or something? I always feel bad for her when that happens because Lisa's always like, that's very important, of course, but her tone says something completely different than her words do.
Poor Whitney with all her maladies and her scheduling and her schooling.
Lisa reminds them that they need to do things. There's a certain way of doing things at Teen Vogue in the manner we are accustomed to.
I wish that she had said, I don't approve of alcohol abuse, like earlier in the first season.
That was amazing when she said that.
That was amazing.
But I was also thinking, Lisa, if you want to do things in a manner that you are accustomed to, you probably shouldn't have a reality TV show filming at your office, but whatever. So the girls go back to their closet and they're talking about Jane, who is the fashion editor at Teen Vogue, who Emily works for. And Lauren says she's very precise and she makes these funny hand motions that are like, precise. It was very funny. And she said, that's just not me. Then we head to Bolt House. And
yes! Woo!
I know you love Bolt House. Unfortunately, we do not see Brent. He must be out of the office that day. I feel like we haven't seen him in a while. Of course, we haven't been consistently recording, so he could have been 2 episodes ago, and I don't remember.
Don't know what you mean. We always record on time the exact same day of the week. And we're so good at it.
Mm-hmm. So Spencer calls Heidi. Jem, would you like to hear what Spencer says to Heidi?
You better do it right.
Why are you acting so weird and not taking my calls?
Maybe because of all the 89 bad things that you did. Rhetorical questions, Spency Wincy.
Why are you whispering? She's at work, Spencer, and she's embarrassed to be talking to you, so she's whispering so the whole office doesn't know her drama.
Guess who appears at the beginning of this scene? Our BFF, Elodie, who we're now friends with. America.
Elodie. Then Heidi says to Spencer, you are one big interruption in my life. So Spencer's whole thing is he didn't do anything wrong because he actually didn't hook up with any of the playmates. So it's okay he was hanging out with them. He did not hook up with them.
Susan, we interrupt our regularly scheduled program to return to one of my favorite subjects, and that is, what are the statuettes on Heidi's desk at work? What are they?
Are you asking me?
Yes, I'm going to post an Insta photograph and try to get the world to tell me what these little figurines are. Because I keep looking at them over and over, and one minute I think it's like Abraham Lincoln, and the next minute I think they're like Roman gods or whatever. Also, I didn't like Spencer dialing Heidi's number when he called her because he totally didn't look at the road the whole time whilst he was driving. Irresponsible Spencer Pratt.
Anyway, so Heidi asked Spencer for space, which I think is a perfectly reasonable thing to ask for after what he did, and he responds
with a vein popping out of his neck.
In a super rude, angry way.
Rage.
You take a week and see if I am here to call. I can't even do that in my Spencer voice because I had to just say it in my regular voice because I was so annoyed at how disrespectful he was. When your girlfriend that you're supposedly in love with and only want to be with asks you for space of a week, you give her space. You don't threaten her. So rude.
So mean.
So because Spencer was so rude, he's just ruined my New Year's resolution to be nicer to him. Sorry, you're just wrong, Spencer. So then we head back to Teen Vogue and we meet super intern Emily.
It's time for Biggie versus Tupac.
I love Emily's dress when it starts panning up, but then I don't like her. I don't like how it's like a turtleneck, but the skirt is super cute.
Well, she does like the short skirt and the bare legs with the high heels and then covers up the neck, and I just think that that's very fashionable to like show skin in different places.
Oh, I know it is. I'm just like, oh no. So Emily immediately gets to work. She's making copies. She's putting her purse on Lauren's desk for some reason.
I love how Lauren picks it up like it's a piece of trash or like a dead animal and looks at it and is like, oh, what is that?
She's like, what is this doing at my workspace and my closet? Hello?
Do you think that Emily was just like the ultimate, most amazing, like rock star intern ever in the history of Teen Vogue? I mean, she has her crap together way more than I do, and she's probably like 20 in this.
Well, Jem, you know who Emily the intern is, don't you?
I feel like we talked about this a few episodes ago, but refresh my mem.
This is Emily Weiss. She is the founder of the beauty blog Into the Gloss. They talk about makeup and skincare and hair. And she's made a very successful business, so that's pretty cool that she was able to take her internship, and she did seem to work really hard. I know they kind of portray her in this episode as the bad guy, but she really never did anything.
No, she was just being a responsible person and using her knowledge that she already had. If I read her blog, do you think I'll look like her in this 2000 episode of The Hills?
Jem, you're my sister, so I don't want to say this. Neither you nor I will ever look like Emily. She's beautiful, and just not that she's beautiful, she's like so elegant and really tall, and neither are one of us look like her.
I thought you were going to tell me that's just not how blogs work, and you were going to break my heart. Oh, hey, funny story. Remember we discussed Emily's outfit? Lauren is wearing the exact same thing from a dress standpoint. It's like basically the same dress, except it has like a deep plunge neckline.
She's wearing it that day?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice what Lauren was wearing. That's so funny.
Yeah, I noticed a black dress, girl.
So Emily starts running down the schedule for Lauren, and you can just tell Lauren's super intimidated by her. She's just like, who is this force of nature? I think there's some creative editing in this scene, Jem, because they show Lauren sighing.
Yeah, I don't think Lauren was as pouty meeting Emily as that scene makes it out to be, because it makes it look like she's basically rolling her eyes, tossing her hair around, rubbing her face, and like ignoring Emily, and I don't think she was doing any of those things.
I don't think so either. And Emily's like, oh my gosh, we have to do this and that, and she's like, we need to find addresses to these two places. We better get map questing, because you know that takes forever to map two locations.
Questing.
And then Emily holds up the response cards, which Lisa Love had already told Whitney to do, so I don't know why Whitney didn't do those. But at the time, while I was watching it, I was like, is the party tonight? And they're just now sending out reminder cards, but the party was not that night.
Oh, time. You're so confusing.
I know, right? They need to tell us better what day it is. So then we head to Bolt House, and Kristen comes bustling in, gives Heidi a big hug. She just can't wait to gossip about the Spencer situation from what I assume was the night before.
I love how Kristen just looks like she may have just like come in from the club. Like she threw on a little bit of eyebrow pencil, but she pretty much just came from the club like 2 hours ago or whatever the after party was. Everybody else is like pretty and cute in the office, and she comes in with her leather jacket, looking a little struggling and rock and roll. I feel like Brent Bolthouse totally approves of this lifestyle / look.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Kristen always has her eye pencil on, no matter where she is. I bet she drives a motorcycle.
You're right, she does. Ugh, you're so smart.
Thanks. Heidi's basically saying, I really didn't know what to think about the whole Adrena situation before, but now, like, everything's clear because I saw him with these girls at the club. So now I, like, trust Adrena, but I totally, don't trust Spencer. I just don't know what to do. And Kristen's, like, egging her on, and she's like, well, maybe you should chill out for a little bit, which is the advice that pretty much everyone is giving her. Like, Spencer is not to be trusted. Why are you having anything to do with him? He needs to go. Like, he is super untrustworthy. Every single person in her life has given her this advice.
Just think if this had been the end, how different all of our lives would have been. And by all of our lives, I mean everybody in the show and not you and me, or really any of our listeners, except our best friend Elodie.
Jem, I have a confession to make. I'm glad this was not the end, because Spencer made the show better. He really did.
He did. And is this a part of your New Year's resolution where you're trying to be nicer to Spidey?
No, I genuinely think he made the show better. I don't like thinking about the fact that he is still with Heidi after all this stuff, but I can only believe that he put on a persona and he's not that terrible in real life. So we're going to go with that, and we're going to say that he entertained us so well during 6 seasons of The Hills, because, spoiler alert, he doesn't ever go away.
What?
I don't think that's much of a spoiler. I think anyone who's alive right now knows what happened. I am so glad he was still in the show.
But you're right. He's got to be better in real life, because there's no way Heidi would still be married to him after all this time. I mean, that's a long Hollywood marriage right there.
10 years. Well, maybe not 10 years of marriage, but 9 years of dating at least.
The doctor's interview that I tweeted the other day from our Twitter account, she said we've been married 10 years.
No, I don't think that's true because the show aired 10 years ago in August. They have not been married 10 years.
But she did say that.
So then we're in the car with Emily and Lauren, and they're chatting about flowers. Lauren has no idea what Emily is talking about.
Bless her.
This was one of the funniest parts of the 10th year anniversary special when Lauren was talking about that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, when they're talking about like the chinoiserie or whatever the French phrase was, I don't remember.
Right, and Lauren was like, I had no idea what that was, and she was so embarrassed. I was like, most 23-year-olds don't know what that is, so I wouldn't be
23?
Is
she 23 in this episode?
I think so. Well, she was 20 in season 1, so, well, maybe she's only 21. I don't know, though. Have we had her 21st birthday yet? I don't know how old she is, but anyway.
We have no time for math and for calculating ages. We've got things to talk about.
Emily definitely comes across as a little smug and superior in this scene.
And Lauren looks so pitiful and pathetic. Like, you can just see the confidence, like, disappearing from her life.
Yeah, when she asks Emily, oh, do you go to school too? And she's like, I go to school and I do this and that and this and that. And I work for Chanel and I do this and that. And Lauren's like, because you can tell she's thinking, oh my God, I have so much to do with my school and my one internship. I'm so busy. And now she's like, oh, I feel dumb.
Well, Miss Lauren Conrad, maybe you should have said, oh, I'm super busy taping my reality show because I'm a celebrity and you're not.
She can't break the fourth wall, Jem.
I know.
So they head to the Velvet Garden, which is a super cool florist place.
And they're wearing their dueling black dresses and black heels.
Emily is just buzzing through the florist as Lauren flounders behind her. They're looking at arrangements and they're talking about things, and the lady who works at the florist is like, oh my gosh, you're so knowledgeable. You're so super smart. Because knowing what a dahlia is super smart, Jem.
Okay, so I had some really extensive thoughts during this scene that were probably a huge waste of my thinking time. I should spend time thinking about other things, but I really went deep here. I was thinking about, like, Emily, where did you grow up? What were your parents like? What kind of house did you live in? What sort of garden did you have? Did you go to, like, gardening classes with your mother? Is this your passion in life? Do you come by all this knowledge naturally and organically, or did you really just learn this as part of your fashion career? Because it's pretty darn impressive.
Oh, it definitely is. It would be very interesting to find out that stuff. I do not know any of it. So.
Don't you feel like, though, it's something that, like, if Emily were here right now and you were like, oh, tell us about the, Flowergate or whatever you want to call it. Flowers!
Oh my gosh, I was waiting for that to click.
Flowers! Anyway, if she were here right now and we asked her, I guarantee you she'd tell a story and be like, when I was 5 years old, my mom took me into the greenhouse in the backyard and said, Emily, this is a daisy. And that's where it all began.
I prefer to think it's like her eccentric grandmother who taught her all that.
Grandmother, maybe like an aunt who lived next door.
That was a master gardener and won all these awards, and she just grew up in a house surrounded by flowers.
What if Emily grew up in the secret garden and that kid that knows all the stuff about flowers taught her all these things?
Oh my gosh.
What was his name? Tobias? Tolkien? Trevor? What was his name?
Oh my god, how do I not remember that? It's a weird name.
Secret Garden.
What is his name? That's gonna drive me crazy because Mary Lennox is the girl. Is it
Mary
Edwin?
Lennox.
What is it? What? Dickon.
What? Oh, Dickon. Dickon taught her these things, and that is how she knows. Flowergate 2007. Solved.
2007? Oh, right.
Susan, are you forgetting your math again?
No, I was thinking now that it's 2017 that you were saying the wrong year.
Oh, yeah, no. Flowergate happened long ago.
So then we head to Luna Park for a girls' night out with Jen Bunny, Lauren, and Heidi. I wonder where Adrena is.
She's probably somewhere, like, getting a tattoo or hanging out with more rock and roll people than these girls.
Heidi says she wouldn't wouldn't give up her singleness for anything, her one day of singleness.
Heidi, you've been single for 11 minutes.
And the thought of love makes Lauren want to throw up. Jen Bunny doesn't believe in love.
Well, if I were Jen Bunny, I wouldn't believe in love either when boys in clubs were telling me to please stand up so that somebody else can sit in their seat and completely ignoring her. I would hate all of mankind.
This is true.
You just made a really rude face, and it was an anti-bunny face.
It was an anti-bunny face. You know how I feel about Jen Bunny. You all do. I don't need to harp on it anymore. Lauren announces that she wanted to marry Jason, and Jen's like, yeah, you had your wedding date set. I think Jen's exaggerating a little bit there. I don't think Lauren and Jason ever had a wedding date set.
I think by wedding date, she meant move into the beach house for the summer.
Exactly.
A house I like to call breakup beach house.
Lauren says she only misses Jason when she needs stuff put together or when she has lots of groceries because they're super heavy to lift and only a man can do that, Jem.
Oh my gosh, I totally can't carry groceries under that. Actually, I don't do any of the grocery shopping. My husband does it all, and I have nothing that I can say. I have no leg to stand on.
Well,
Jem and Susan for Social Justice is crashing and burning right now.
Jem, I'm so disappointed in you.
You should be. I'm sure my husband is too.
So Spencer keeps texting and calling Heidi all during girls' night out, and she's just rolling her eyes, but you can tell she secretly wants to answer the phone, Jem.
Oh, yeah.
Heidi's like, let's not talk about Spencer because it's ruining the night, but you can tell she actually doesn't want to talk about him because she's getting defensive because all of a sudden everyone's dogging Spencer because it's open season on him now that they've broken up, and you can tell she's thinking, yeah, I don't like this very much.
She's like, I want to complain about everything that's happening with Spencer, but I don't want it to be this harsh coming from y'all. You need to just marginally sympathize with me.
And you can tell she's already caving.
Yep. The resolve of being single and never letting it go for anything is fading quickly.
Didn't take long, Jem. So then we head to Whitney's parents' house. Whitney's recovering from her wisdom teeth surgery, and they start talking about Emily.
Whitney is the best looking post wisdom teeth surgery person I've ever seen in my whole life, by the way.
I love how Whitney puts a positive spin on anything. She's not whining about how her surgery went badly. She's not whining about Emily after Lauren's it was really intense, and she's it's a really good thing that you got to hang out with her kind of thing. She just puts such a positive spin on Whitney, and I don't get enough of Whitney. I want more of Whitney, and I feel like we don't get enough because she doesn't have some super dramatic angle like Heidi does, and I'm just sad because I want more of Whitney because I love her. She is so sweet, and I want more Whitney, Jem.
If only Whitney could get her own show.
So then we head back to Bolt House, and Heidi pulls Elodie into the lobby and is like, I have to talk to you.
Can I have a pro Heidi moment?
Sure.
Heidi's outfit looks great.
Yes, it does.
She has on a short-sleeved gray cashmere sweater and pearl necklace, which those were suits popular back in those days. I still throw mine on every now and then, and every millennial I pass in the world is I don't understand what that is around your neck. But anyway, so she has shorts and then tall boots that have a little heel on them. It is the cutest outfit. I would wear it tomorrow, even with the pearls.
Yeah, I thought it was really cute too. But it's funny because the only reason why she pulls Elodie in there is she's looking for that perspective of someone who will agree with everything she says and justify her reasons, because you can tell she's super weakening. She misses Spencer. She wants to give him another chance. What should she do? Blah, blah, blah. She barely gets the words out of her mouth before Elodie interrupts her and says, how do you miss someone that does that to you? Elodie's like, real talk, girl. What the heck? She's rolling her eyes, and Heidi's like, well, you don't choose who you love. That is not an excuse for choosing to be with someone who has treated you so horribly.
It's not West Side Story.
Elodie's like, you know what? Can you really trust him? Has he ever done anything to show you he is trustworthy? Jordan hurt you. Are you going to sign up for that again? And Heidi does not have anything to say. I think she's already made up her mind, and she doesn't care if he's trustworthy or not. And Heidi just looks dramatically off into the distance, leaving you wondering, what is Heidi going to do?
Susan, I think that this goes back to a theme that has kind of run through our past few episodes of Heidi viewing Spencer as this fabulous prize to be won that everyone wants, and she wants to be the winner. So I think she kind of enjoys the quote unquote competition, which there really isn't any competition. Like inviting Playboy models to the club doesn't really count. But Heidi kind of enjoys the, like, you know, fighting for his heart. I hope I win scene.
I feel sad for her that she can't see like how manipulative he is and how bad he is for her. But once again, I'm super glad he's still with us because he's very entertaining. And
He brings laughter to my life.
He really does. So then we head to the Teen Vogue dinner. The girls are getting ready for the dinner party. They're putting the flowers on the table, arranging all the place settings. Lauren quietly says she thinks there are too many flowers on the table and everyone ignores her. They're just gushing over how beautiful the table looks, and Lisa Love comes in, and as she's admiring it, she says, there are too many flowers, and Lauren can't help herself. She is so delighted and excited that she had the same thought as Lisa, and she's just beaming. For one instant, her face just lights up.
Susan, if that had been me in that situation, what would have happened at the moment when Lisa said that there were too many flowers? What would I have done?
You would have screamed, Lisa, there's never too many flowers, never! Flowers for years, flowers for days, more!
Well, no, that's like Jem, the lover of florists in LA, but I meant like Jem in real life. I would have been like, oh, I just said that.
Whitney gets a little smile in there too. I think she enjoys it as well. And then the smiles are wiped from their face when Lisa tells Emily to set a place for herself because someone can't make it and escort the girls out the front because they're leaving.
The last time I felt such a punch in the gut was when they told Lauren she could leave that Marc Jacobs show in New York and get back on the plane to LA. Ouch.
She always gets left out, and it makes me so uncomfortable because I bet she was the most famous person at this Teen Vogue dinner. I bet the girls would have way rather hung out with her than Emily the intern.
And then she was escorted from the building like a common criminal.
I'm not sure why Emily had to escort them out, by the way. That was a little odd.
Oh, that was just to, like, dig the knife a little bit deeper.
I know.
And Emily's so gracious and smug. Like, oh, thank you so much, everything.
That was the most fake, like, goodbyes ever. Like, the double air kisses and the, oh, bye, I love you, la, la, la. They didn't say I love you, but you know what I mean. It was so fake.
That fashion industry, Susan, you can't be a part of it.
And I don't mean fake, like, within the show. I just mean, like, a typical interaction with someone that you really don't like.
Love you, mean it.
But I think they win in the end because they enjoy some cookies in the car as they try to make themselves feel better about the fact that they were left out again. I think there's a lot of imposter syndrome happening right now, too, Jem.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they don't even think they deserve to be in there, so it's just really sad.
Susan, why don't you explain for our listeners who aren't familiar with the term what imposter syndrome is? Jem and Susan for Social Justice.
Imposter syndrome is when you feel like you don't really belong in a place. Like, say you have a good job and you always feel like you don't actually deserve it or you don't really belong there.
Yeah,
even though you're more qualified than a man.
Yeah, you're successful and everything's going great, but there's a little voice inside you saying you shouldn't be here.
Or you're not good enough.
Better than you.
Yes.
You're basically, a stranger in a strange land, and it is a scientifically proven malady that women suffer from top to bottom in companies around America. So Google it, and you can thank Jem and Susan for Social Justice later.
So then we head back to the Hillside Villas, and we see Heidi walking out in a little black dress, and everyone groans because we know what's waiting for her out there as she walks out with that walk that you love so much where she's wiggling her hips, Jem.
What? Heidi, just practice in front of the mirror for 2 minutes of your life and everything will be fine. But just don't do that again.
And Spencer is waiting for her in his car, and they drive off into the dark together.
He's waiting in the vehicle of evil, drawing her back into his web of drama and the vein popping out of his neck.
And Jem, once she forgave him for that, there was no going back.
That was it. That was just the point of no return, as they say in Phantom of the Opera.
The beginning of the beginning of the beginning. ...
To be continued.
Does this episode of The Hills pass the Bechdel test? Yes, Jem?
Susan,
This 100% passed the Bechdel test in a big way.
Do we have a bell we can ring or something?
I feel like this was the best Bechdel pass ever.
Yes. Because Lisa Love with the girls in the office, Emily in the car with Lauren, the dinner with the flowers and all the women working on the table. Am I missing anything? Oh, Whitney and Lauren eating, consoling themselves in the car.
It was an excellent Bechdel test episode.
Bechdel.
Good job, Hills.
Woo!
It's very rare we have that much.
Winners of the week.
Jem, who was your winner of the week?
My winner of the week was the florist who sold Teen Folk the flowers for the dinner because she sold them double what they needed and made a fortune. And those extra flowers probably got taken home by some like lowly, server or got thrown in the trash or something. So I think that at this point we're up to about 3 floretical wins. That's not a word, but I like it.
I can't even with you and your florist, Jem.
Don't be mad.
I'm not mad. I ain't mad. I got nothing but love for you.
Oh my gosh, Tupac reference.
My winner of the week is Emily because she was able to be on TV, and I don't know how much that went towards her later success in life, but I'm sure it did not hurt her, and she came across as very classy, even though they tried to make her look like the bad guy. I don't think she really came off as the bad guy, and I loved her dress, so she's my winner of the week.
That's a good winner. Like, your winners always have names. Mine always just have professions.
Because they're always just florists.
But they're different kinds of florists. Like, this lady was super high-end. Sometimes it's like a random on the street with a plastic wrapped rose. I mean, they're all different people. We need to not judge them as a group. They're very individual.
Okay, Jem.
I love you, florists of LA.
Jem. And Susan's funniest moments. Jem, what was your funniest moment of the week?
I think it was when, in the very first scene, Audrina walked in the apartment. We briefly touched on it. And Heidi said, "This is what death looks like. This is the face of death." And Audrina didn't even do the thing where she was like, "Oh, girl, no, you look fine." Or, "You look good for someone who had a rough night." She just came right out and said it and was like, "Yeah, you had a really bad night. AKA, you look awful."
I think my funniest moment was when the girls were at Luna Park and just everything they said. I was laughing so hard during that whole thing when they were talking about they didn't believe in love and how they hated love and they were glad they were all single. It was just so funny to me. I loved that.
Didn't somebody say something about throwing a blackberry in a mojito or something? Or a sidekick in a mojito?
Yes, because Heidi would not put her sidekick down. I don't know that they said anything. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Jen Bunny was like, "If you don't stop texting, I'm going to throw that sidekick in my mojito." And in her mind, she was like, when memes are invented, this is going to be super popular and all the girls are going to say it. So stop trying to make fetch happen, Jen Bunny.
Stop trying to make fetch happen.
There are some people in LA that are. There are some people in LA that are. There are some people in LA that are.
Jen, what was your pratfall of the week?
Obviously Spencer dialing with a phone in his face whilst not looking in traffic. He probably could have run someone over, which, now that I think about it, he wants to run over or push people in the street, as evidenced by his treatment of Mitch, Mike, Mac, whatever, the Mohawk
Jim.
guy. Max. So, like, that was kind of in line with his deal. He loves beef in the streets.
Poor Max, we hardly knew ye. My pratfall of the week was the already discussed, "You take a week and see if I'm here to call."
Oh, threats of Spencer. That's a true pratfall.
And we already talked about it. I don't think anything else needs to be said about how terrible he was in that moment.
Your Spencer impression and proper amount of grinning just said it all, Susan.
Thanks, Jem. And thank you, everyone, for listening. If you want to get in touch with us and let us know what you think about this episode or the podcast as a whole, you can reach us in a variety of ways. You can email us at wordsunspokenpodcast@gmail.com.
You can tweet us at The Hills Podcast.
You can find us on Instagram at wordsunspokenpodcast. And Jem, I have to say, I am loving all the memes that you're doing. Jem is our meme generator, and she has been putting out some hilarious memes. So good job.
I could have been so great and popular in the world like 5 years ago, but it's not really great. It's not a very honorable title to be a meme generator in 2017. And of course, our website is always available 24 hours a day at wordsunspokenpodcast.com.
We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/wordsunspokenpodcast. Subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes. If you review us, we might even read your review on air.
Only if it's nice.
See you next Friday. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
You and all your pretty little friends up in the hills where the party never ends. Your schemes and your dreams when you're whole and you're broken. I'm telling all about it in my words unspoken.
When the recording of the complete series of Words Unspoken Hills podcast comes out, it can be in the outtake.
Well, I have something else to confess. I deleted all of the original, which I never do that.
Did you delete our art?
I did.
You slashed our art in half.
I never
Even more
delete
offensive.
anything. It's a scandal.